Trumpsters' small-town takeover leads to repeal of LGBTQ rights. A central Pennsylvania borough became a hotbed of conservative activism after the local council passed a non-discrimination ordinance that included LGBTQ people. After a heated election, a group of Trumpers gained a majority on the council, and the first thing they wanted to do, repeal the ordinance, specifically to remove protections for LGBTQ plus people. Yesterday, in a vote of 7-3, the council voted to repeal the ordinance, stripping away the protections for LGBTQ plus members of the community. Minutes of the meeting should be approved and published by February 14th, at which time we'll be able to find out exactly who on the council voted against equality. Watch this.
Now, members of the LGBT community spoke tonight, saying that when people go to the Pennsylvania Human Relations Commission with a complaint, it gives them a local law to point to that indicates that discrimination isn't allowed in the community. But most of the members of council argued that it was just a piece of paper without legal standing and unnecessary bureaucracy.
Why do you hate my community? Because that's what this is about. It's about hatred.
You want to divide this community. Our kids are reporting the fact that they're getting bullied, pushed downstairs, barked at, and called multiple expletives.
Where's God at? Let me tell you, I have nothing against anybody here. I just have a different opinion.
I think by creating special protections for people, we open the door for other special protections for other people.
Pennsylvania, as some of you may know, is the only state in the entire Northeast that does not have statewide protections for LGBTQ individuals.
I find it so... You know, I find it so interesting that it becomes an issue to have non-discrimination protections for other people, that the horror that non-discrimination protections are a watershed moment for more non-discrimination protections. Whatever will we do if more people are protected from having their rights violated? Yeah. You know, like why is that the slippery slope, so to speak? The slippery slope to what? Equality? What is the end hellfire that we're worried about?
Yeah. Exactly. They're worried about equality. You know, most of the men speaking out were white, old, probably cis men, right? Mm-hmm. So I think they're just reflecting their experience and lack of experience in many senses, you know, because in this country, most minorities like us, and, you know, like me, I'm a Latino, I'm gay, I'm Arab, so I've had some of an experience. But if you don't, how do you make yourself aware? And I think that's what's happening in this country.
Equality doesn't have to be a zero-sum game. There's enough equality to go around if we're willing to release it. And something that was not mentioned in this story is that they also got rid of a panel that would investigate claims of discrimination. So now that, you know, they don't have to listen. It's the equivalent of going, you can't see me, which makes me so mad. Tony?
But this is what's expected, right? This is the world that I come from. This is the world where I worked in and lived in for many, many years. When we have progressive government at the federal level, and in the end, all politics is local, this is what happens. The attacks start at the very local level. It's something that we're to expect, and that's why we have to continue doing the work that we all do at the local level. Organizations like SAVE and Equality Florida are very relevant because they have to continue protecting rights at the local level when they don't exist at the state level. So it's not surprising. This is the way that it works. It's a cycle. You have federal progressive government. This is what happens at the local level. And the important part is to not let up and continue fighting for those local protections.
You know, politicians lie. Newsflash, politicians lie. And we just watched a report, and we don't know yet publicly, we tried to find out today, the individual commissioners and identification of vote. But they've repealed this on this 7-3 vote because it was unnecessary bureaucracy. Mm-hmm. That is a lie. That is a political lie. It is coverage of using a political lie to discriminate. First, let's make sure that we are clear. Where else in the world are they doing something like this in terms of political lie of reversal? They're doing it in Hungary and Poland and Russia. Mm-hmm. and a third of the country's in Africa. This town in Pennsylvania is now in the same category as Poland and LGBTQ free zones that did the exact same thing in justification. We don't need these kind of protections, and in fact, we shouldn't have them because it gives special rights. Congratulations, this small town in Pennsylvania, you're Hungary. The third thing that I think is really devastating in this decision, this is a tiny little no-account place. Who cares about this little town? But what is so devastating about this is they passed this ordinance, or they passed this rebuke 7-3 by saying it's a slippery slope to give other special rights. Yes, that's exactly what the Voting Rights Act in 1965 was designed to do. And the reason is because white people for more than 100 years oppressed people that were freed from a civil war, from slavery. They needed special rights. And that's why we had a Voting Rights Act and a Civil Rights Act, because we had to provide special rights to protect these classes from you, old white guy. That's why we have these kind of laws. So your argument is completely ridiculous. The final devastating thing about this 7-3 vote in this tiny little no-account Pennsylvania town is to my LGBT brothers and sisters and trans and non-binary. We continue to raise alarms that you better get involved and you better pay attention, because there's a whole class of Americans out there that want to reverse your rights. Religious, in the Supreme Court, and even marriage equality. If you take stuff for granted, you're soon going to be living in a little small town in Pennsylvania today.
LGBTQ plus news is vital for our community and for the broader world as a whole. We have enough enemies at Fox News. Tucker, Sean, and Laura are loud. We need passionate allies. Happening Out Television Network, Queer News Tonight, and It's Happening Out are literally out of the closet and into the headlines. Our community needs your support. Like this broadcast and subscribe now to ensure the growth of the entire LGBT